Wildcard push us to Clubhouse, or do they have a date with Destiny and one more shot as M80 move to the Atlanta Major? Let's find out. Border between these two teams, the operator bands will roll in.
No surprise, see the Ying, strong operator. Both teams will like to use and abuse that as best as they can, but Wildcard thinking, hey, maybe M80's a little bit better at us on the Ying than what we are. Last time they played each other was on Border, and Wildcard did end up taking that victory. It was a really hard-fought victory for Wildcard, but they dug in against M80, and they were able to take that win. Blitz, another ban comes in, no surprise as well. Again, it's very strong in the meta. Mira being the third ban, and I assume probably looking at either your Solus or your Azamis here as your fourth ban. That's my guess.
Wildcard's ban, they'll take care of the Azami. They liked the Solus last time around. They liked her a lot. Two of the operator bans remaining the same. Ying and Azami banned out by Wildcard in both matches. They've got their bans dialed in. With some flexibility from M80. They don't like the Blitz. They want to keep it off the board. That's fine. The Mira ban is not odd. It's not unconventional.
No.
But we've only seen 2 Mira bans out of all of the maps played in Stage 2. She is far from a popular ban, but she will dramatically influence the way that Border is played. So getting rid of her means that now you can't actively defend Armory Wall the same way. It means you can't extend up to Fountain the same way that you would if the bomb site is below you. So many ways that those black mirrors can be applied, especially that tellers and bathroom bomb site down below. Without her, information will need to be gathered another way, or not gathered at all, and instead you'll just have to play maybe a bit more secure and farther back.
Yeah, Mira's not too much of an issue on Border. I think that most of the positions that are good for her are still pretty easily cleared with just normal utility. A nade could be tossed in, so it's not the the biggest operator that you have to ban. Sure, you want to ban it as a little bit of comfort for M80. By all means, go for it. But in no way should it be the insta ban. A little piece of barbed wire there for anyone who might be interested. Oh, why is he placed that there? If you're playing inside a CCTV room, just that little sound cue that stops anyone pushing up that long outside corridor and have that early swing into CC door. It just gives you that little bit of information just before the gunfights happen. So that's why he's placed that there. Because naturally you would expect to see a Doc play in that position. CC is quite an open room that we have. A lot of different angles you can get into break room, for example. You can hold back those attackers. So having those stim pistols works quite the charm. A bit of early engagement. How on earth is a Finka in the site?
We're 45 seconds into the round and 4 people are dead. Make that 5 by Kino. Merc still roaming, but Iconic is getting the diffuser down. He can't do anything about it. He's going to rely on the remainder to get in there. He has miles away. There's an E1D to go. Adam dies. Iconic back in. They've got some pings. They've got some information. Iconic needs to come to the rescue, and there it is. Wildcard get the first 2 picks, but then M80 get the rest.
I don't even know. I'm guessing that Iconic has came in through sandwich window. That has to be what he's went for, because there's no other way I'm seeing a Finka kill somebody on Armory Wall from behind. There's no way that's happening naturally. Yeah, M80 have rushed Armory without Ying on the board and without Blitz on the board. That is pretty unheard of rushing with a pretty bland team comp. As itself, you have a Finka and a Lion really as the 2 rushing operators. But everything else was pretty run-of-the-mill. But somehow they've just caught Wildcard flat-footed. Wildcard did not react well enough. Diaz played such an important part. The fact that he stayed alive during all of that, just sat in the window, is crucial. So crucial for that round to work, because he cuts off the bombs. Like, we've seen him get 2 kills from that window alone.
My. Well, it was a swing and a miss for the defense as they get absolutely overrun and mobbed by M80, and now the second attempt on attack, and attempt being the key word here. because every single attack is an attempt. If you don't attempt, the defense wins. That's the way this game works. It's going to be this bathroom bomb site. Again, this is going to be played out very differently with this Mira ban, and most teams do not ban Mira at this point. So, M80 banning the Mira, they must know something. Wildcard has played this map 3 times in Stage 2. They've always banned the Ying and the Azami. These are their comfort bans, and additionally, they're the 2 most banned operators on attack and defense. So, why not? Again, the Azami ban will change the way that you go about defending this map, but she's banned so frequently that, well, we tend to see more defenses without her than we do with her.
It's good utility from Gomez, just picking apart any bits of utility that he can. Kino, it's the EMP, the closet wall, and now Spoit will open it up, just eliminates any mute jammer that may be on there. And all that's going to do is not necessarily an angle that M80 is going to play off, it's more of just a phantom angle that realistically nobody from M80 is going to go near, but Wildcard always have to be scared of that. And Spirits now, you can see his position, he can no longer play as loosely as he would want to. He's now trapped in a corner, but little does he know, no one's actually there holding him.
Here goes the Bravo with the Finca on the board. Spoit inside a CCTV, gunfire raining out, and towards top east, M80 will look. They draw out Merc, but he wins that fight. That's a brave fight for him to take, but if there's anybody who's got guts to do it, it's Merc. Kino can't get himself in position for the follow-up. Instead, it's Spoit to claim that player of Wildcard. Gomez goes down, Kino as well. The T5s working out in spades for Packer and Adam. Now M80 will need stare down a 2v4 with 1 minute left on the clock.
They've been here before, plenty of times in Bank. They were in these positions where they just had to try and play for the kills. I love that rotation from Packer. Went up East stairs to try and support his teammates, and he found a kill because of it. Spoit gets one back, but 3 more to find. Is he has to do. That's on the menu. Spoit peeking in now. Top waiting is where he lies. Guman will give his position away, but nobody from Wildcard are upstairs to try and collapse on that. They themselves have rotated it back into the safety of the bomb site, and Spoit has to go hunting for all the kills himself.
Well, he takes some damage in the process. The diffuser will taunt him, as he's not going to have any ability to get this thing down, especially when you look at how fast that clock is just falling away. And you're an immensely talented player, but the odds are just so much against you. There's really not that much you can do. Wildcard showing some patience, but then Spirit's getting restless. Final pick goes for Wildcard, and would you know it, the tie game. Back and forth. I don't see either team running away with this map from the first 2 rounds, but there's still time left.
I think it's going to play very similar to what we've seen the last time they came up against each other in Border, where it was such a close game. 8-6 was the scoreline for Wildcard in that matchup. I love that first kill for Merc. Just swing them before they swing you. That was really the mentality for Merc. As we know, Merc, the experience this guy has on such a young team like Wildcard is immense to have for a team that really has been the surprise factor throughout the league. Nobody expected Wildcard to do this well. I mean, Wildcard, if you had told us a few weeks ago they'll be 1 game away from getting into the major, you know, that's monumental for that team.
Absolutely. I like these doc picks. Okay, I'm going to ask you. You have to be the expert today. I'm going to make you Nick.
I don't want to be Nick. I want to be me.
Too bad. You don't want to be 2-time world champion, I understand. What is it with all the docs that we're seeing on this map? What do you think it is, Harry? Wow.
Mostly because this top floor, you try and hold about 80% of it as a defense. You'll open up, the rotates in towards Brazil, rotates in towards Fountain. You'll have somebody playing in towards the sandwich wall inside of office. All of those positions are just, they're set up for engagements, and having that extra health so you can just keep taking those gunfights over and over again is great. And also, if anyone does get naded, for example, and does get downed, that Doc is going to have a lot of long angles you can get picked up on. If you get naded from sandwich, Doc can revive you from 90 so easily. That's why Doc's really good, because you can get the stims in, revive from a distance, and also you have a 1.5x to challenge onto some of these longer angles, as we can see that Spirits is displaying right now.
It got that self-sustained too. The one thing that we always referred to as when Finka was on the board and you'd see a fair bit of Thunderbird was chip damage, right? I mean, if you're engaging with all of those nades from below and they're not aimed particularly well, then you're going to survive but be walking wounded. That's when those operators pay incredible dividends, and depends on the meta that you're in. Right now, it is a very frag-heavy meta. Lots of duels, TDM meta, some will call it. If you're not getting an outright kill, then the staying power from an operator like Doc is humongous.
That's why we've seen Fabian retire, obviously.
Because he can't get kills.
Exactly. To be fair, he has asked to join my rank stack, so I don't know if he's going for a midlife crisis or whatever it is going on with him. You know, maybe his feeble mind is starting to take from him of what he is. But you know, it's I worry whenever I see that message come in. I'm more than happy to have him, of course, but yeah, just check up on him, Parky, if you could. Just give him a phone call, make sure he's okay.
Wildcard getting on the board, taking no prisoners. They've been deprived of a flawless round so far. M80's had no problems with them. All it takes is one last player. Can Wildcard pull it off with Iconic charging up towards top east? Yes, they can. Flawlessly done for their second round in a row, and Wildcard take the lead on their map.
Yeah, it just came down to gunfights. Very similar to the last round. It wasn't a case of M80 trying to go for an execute and struggling with executes. They just couldn't even get things going in the first place because the players were swinging. Wildcard were winning their 1v1s, winning their engagements. I will say, though, that the last time they played against each other, both sides did take a 4-2 half on defense. So this is the better side for both teams respectively. And it does look as if we're edging closer to seeing a similar scoreline of a 4-2 as it stands. But I think in a map like Border, if the game gets away from you and you let your opponent start to build up more rounds, like if we're dealing with like a 5-1 half, I don't even see M80 coming back from that stage. I think the game's gone. On a map like Border, it is so punishing where it does revolve a lot around kills. It is so different to a lot of the other maps that we have in the pool. Kills really make or break this map. It's not so much about the strats because it is so chaotic. You can't really prep for chaos. So it's just about who plays better on their day.
10 seconds left before insertion. 5 seconds.
Very much enjoy the chaos that comes with a good border.
Yep.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
This is an operator that doesn't emerge all that often, but is excellent for denying intel and equally for gaining it for your team. As we heard that pest fired out of the launcher by Adam, proving to successfully grab a drone. Mozzie on the board. Deny M80 greater information, and that's been a struggle for M80 on the 2 rounds that they lost, was intel gathering. Yeah, they get in, but they don't get out. And whether it be a Solus on the board, whether it be a Mozzie on the board, in this case, Wildcard is running both. Solus has actually been a huge part of Wildcard's defenses so far. A mute on the board as well.
It's a lot of denial. I will say that I think Atom's pick is probably, he's just been told by his team, oh, just you're roaming, just play what you're comfortable with. I think the Mozzie as an operator is quite a safety pick for a lot of teams. I think the Ronin is certainly one of those guns that is, if you like it, you really like it. If you don't, you don't. It's kind of like Marmite almost, where it's either you like it or you don't. So I think for Adam, he's just happy enough playing that operator, happy with the gun 1.5x, can go for those 1v1 engagements, very, very good in that. Can't really do much aside from 1v1s, just because the ammo capacity is not the strongest on that weapon. But at the moment for M80, you can see them starting to set up a little bit more reserved for M80 this time around, but they still lose the first blood nonetheless. Spoit got ahead of himself. That's a couple of times now where him on the ace has been picked off first, and you kind of wonder, okay, you're trying to make Spoit into a much more flexible player than just the kind of brain-dead Iana player that we're used to seeing him be as times have come. But yeah, certainly a bit worrying to see him get picked off on the support operator.
Yeah, this has been a great start for Wildcard, and honestly, go back to bank. Only 2 rounds where the attacking team has drawn blood first through this entire series. It's Defender's paradise at this point. At least it was. Just because you get that first pick is no guarantee of the remainder of the round. Wildcard learning that the hard way as they give up the advantage that was hard earned by their roamers. Now, M80 stares down the site. Just under a minute.
Device planted.
What do they have to face? Merc on Castle, Surf on Solus. What information does M80 have? They're going to be deprived of information. Neither Iconic nor Diaz have any drones remaining, so instead, they're going to have to play off their own abilities, and Iconic's task is going to be very challenging as there's a bulletproof camera staring him down. Diaz wasting time trying to get an angle on it from above, but if he can't do this, all it's doing is giving more opportunities for Wildcard to push into the site. Iconic will go for it anyway. He's relying completely on Diaz to hold this. Merc doesn't have a way on in. There's the drop. Diaz versus Merc. Merc wins the duel. Iconic now trying just
Go to the box
there, and he does so. Now Surf could fly out the window. What does he want to do? Iconic. Here's Merc on it. Iconic's a little bit too good at Surf to fly out, but Iconic is Iconic for a reason, and it lives up to that namesake, tying the game.
As much as Iconic has done so well to get that clutch, the biggest issue for Wildcard was their own setup. That castle barricade still stuck on that ventilation door was the killer for Wildcard because it went in favor of M80. In that one occasion where it works in favor of the attackers, that is a perfect showing. That doorway cannot be held from above. So where Nomad was, on the vertical angles, on the hatch, you cannot stop somebody running from bottom metal into that corridor without dropping the hatch yourself and exposing yourself to stop that player from swinging the doorway. The castle barricade has locked the castle out of his own sight. The defuse was able to get down, and as soon as that diffuser goes down in that window, it is so difficult to retake from the defense. Sure, I think they probably could have timed their jump out a little bit better. I have to question sort of why he didn't jump out way before, you know, that kill happened. But still Iconic, he can only play what's in front of him, and what's in front of him is a very well-played 1v2.
I mean, things looked real grim there, especially when you made a noise. I think it was a gasp.
I seen the castle barricade.
Camera.
That was it. I seen the castle barricade. That's what I seen. And that's where I was like, oh dear. I knew straight away that's going to bite them in the back.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
All of these teams showing strengths and weaknesses. This has been a very chaotic order so far. 3 bomb sites emerging: Armory, Bathroom, Armory again, and then Vents. It'll be another crack at Bathroom for Wildcard, where they were ultimately successful. Their first defense, and that's where their winning ways began.
10 seconds to go.
You look at the lineup, and previous time that this bomb site was played, it was Packer and Adam from longer range. Again, that T5 is a great gun to engage. Is it a great gun to use in engagements because it has limited recoil, high rate of fire, good damage. Up until recently, Adam had the 1.5 on that Oryx, but it's been shuffled around, as you and I actually talked about in our very first map. We don't need to rehash that. But M80's struggles were over towards the Armory side of the map, even though the bomb site couldn't be farther on border away. M80 looked like their first opportunity was going to come inside a CCTV to gain some map control, but they very quickly fall off and are now repositioning.
Drone is active.
Missing a few nades for M80. That's probably the only issue I would have with their lineup. It is the lack of nades. I would like to see... I like to see 2 sets of nades on border, just because I think they're so strong. There's a lot of different positions where if you can lock down like a window, for example, archives, you then kind of trap defenders in corners. That's the perfect opportunity to start utilizing nades and clearing those players out of those hard to get positions. So certainly not bringing any. It's a bold strategy. It certainly is, but knowing M80, they would have went through this a lot of the time. They've obviously went for this lineup before. They have a specific idea, and it looks like the specific idea, Parker, is just go direct. They're taking about 20% of the map here. They've took E stairs, and they're looking to open up this single wall and just plant inside a B. That's all they're going for.
You can cut off the cross as well. Kino will crouch his way in. You just have to be concerned with whether those walls are soft leading all the way into B. Kino getting the diffuser to the halfway point as Wildcard will need to address this. A nice shot by Iconic. Down goes Gomez. The timer will dramatically shorten as Iconic's attempt upstairs does not work out. Adam gets 2 of them. Goodness. And now Packer hops on the diffuser. Diaz rushing on in. It's all up to Spoit to save it. And he goes huge. He's out-dueled. It's a mess. Again, a goddamn mess. Wildcard, though, in the scramble, come out on top.
Oh my goodness. Adam upstairs. I don't know how he's killed the 3rd player. Whoever the Dokumi was, whoever it was, we'll find out here in a minute when the replays come in. But that is some serious fraud watch, whoever that Dokumi is. You need to be getting that kill back. He's killed 2 players already. You can't let him get the 3rd. Spoit then almost has the triple lineup on 3 of the defenders. Jesse J. Chick has snitched. It was Kino. So Kino, Jesse snitched you. It was him. He stitched you up. Oh, what a mess. I mean, I love the attempt from M80. They move in. They try and ignore everything. They have the nomads, the gridlocks, everything set up. So if a retake does come in, they put themselves at the best advantage. And then Adam just runs through it all. Oh, what a round. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Have another look at it here now as things go quite well. Iconic on the board first. Adam dances around him. There's a boarding party on the top stairs. Spoit comes in and very narrowly gets what could have been a humongous 3K, and you got to appreciate the spray transfer. When you look at that bomb site, you're going to be extending up over the site. You want to hold office and you want to hold fountain. That's usually 2 players. You might have somebody playing over by armory. Maybe they're playing downstairs in workshop if there's a rotation to the bathroom. It's very commonplace for a team to have somebody sit on the bomb site too. One where you saw Kino get the defuse off, usually there's somebody playing in there. No, not this time. Why? Because you've got a reinforcement, you've got the castle barricades. You think that by the time they approach that part of the map, you're going to be able to get back in and defend it on a retake. That was the thinking by Wildcard. Ultimately, they were successful, but it did not come without any risk, and it certainly didn't come easy. They pull out the win nonetheless, and now this very final defense will go back upstairs for Wildcard, and I am just tickled pink to see what the Amaru is capable of for M80.
Spec you active. Looking for intent.
M80 been known to play that faster style of siege if they need to. And I wonder what the surprise is this time around. I'm probably guessing that might be a hatch play from Diaz. He certainly could try and rotate below and go up in towards the Archives hatch. That could be an option for them. But getting, I think, the clear out from office is probably the main issue that M80 are going to deal with. Wildcard have been, I think, just lightning fast with being able to hold office specifically. I think in towards the armory side, in towards CC is a little bit more shaky, but certainly office has been you shall not pass territory for M80. They're not allowed to get in. But going through, you know, I look at Adam, for example, he's played a blinder so far, and certainly him as the Wamai can stop a lot of the utility. It's a good position to put him in.
Activated.
Kino, obviously, those numbers are not pretty for him on Bank, and on Border, they're not looking much better either, but he is an incredibly important part of this team in the roles that he plays. This time on Ace, even if he dies, the bigger issue will be that he drops the diffuser case, but all the Selmas have gone off. Oh, Iconic! Oh. Almost losing the fight to Spirits. Wow, that is that's pretty close. Now it's Packer to fall. M80 drawing blood first. They lose Iconic, and then they lose Kino, who just charges down the hallway. Merc punishes him for it. Merc still taking up space inside of office. Diffuser out of reach for M80. With the final 30 seconds upon us, they have to make a decision. Kills or objective play, and they have to decide very quickly.
P4 gets tossed out. Diaz does side foot that for the meantime. Has the shotgun in hand. Can't take them down, and there's close engagements. Gomez, a great shot on the Merc's head, eliminates him, and Adam, who has just kind of been sat in the corner for the majority of the round so far, he's actually played really well because he just has to sit in a passive position, can play off the information getting fed through. There goes the warden with the glasses, cannot get flash. Oh, the jump over shot, but Adam just stands tall, and gets 2 of them. What? Adam, he just stood in the corner, and that he just had to wait for it. He can't even believe he's won that either.
Just sloppiness from M80. They have proven through all 6 of these rounds that when the scramble comes down, they struggle to recover. Look no further than the most previous round that we just played, the most recent round. They try to take top east. They get into the site. Kino goes get diffuser down. It gets real ugly up top. You just keep filtering players up there. It doesn't work out for you. This time, you don't have a ton of info. I get it. You vault over half wall. You take the engagement, buy the lockers. You get the pick. But you got the diffuser in a position where you can safely plant it. Plant it. Post up. Hold the angle. You don't need to over-engage in that way. This is right here is what I'm talking about. Why are you both swinging? Gomez and Spoit were swinging together, looking for the trade. I get it. Go back. Get that diffuser planted. You lose one, and it puts Gomez in that unenviable position where he has to go for the final pick with 2 seconds on the clock. You're never winning that. Adam additionally did not need to swing it either. He very much could have just sat and waited. If he'd lost that engagement, then we would have been yelling about Adam doing that. You could have just waited. The timer was on your side. But both teams reacting to a lack of information as so many of these rounds broke down in that first half. I will say this, wild card on all 6 rounds, either getting the first pick or trading back immediately. Now, there were a lot of rounds where the first pick would actually be the first 3 picks. No way. All right.
Exposed.
I don't even need to speak. M80 gets the first pick this round on a bit of a puzzling engagement, but Merc was obviously feeling one, and Gomez will humble him.
We got the 4-2 scoreline that we kind of expected we'd see, just based on recent history between both of these sides. So M80, they'll be more than happy to get off the attack and onto the defense, their preferred side. Wildcard, losing Merc right off the rip is not going to help them in their campaign of getting an early attack round in against this M80 side. And Adam on the window lets himself be known. Maybe if you waited just a little bit longer, you could have seen Gomez slip into his vision. Preemptively fires, and oh no, not another one. Another player just ran in by himself and meets the same fate. Diaz trying to hold on to that long outside corridor, but Adam wants nothing to do with it. So Wildcard suffer 2 early kills against them, and now they have to try and come back from a position that is not looking healthy for them.
The defenders can just sit and wait at this point. Don't get too antsy. That, to me, is the bigger issue. Teams, especially with hot hands and good gunners, they can get a little bit restless. Even as experienced as M80 is, they can commit those same mistakes. Big play by Gomez as Adam is good for a single kill. Talked about why is the dock being played. Look at that. Gomez has now survived 2 separate engagements and is back at full HP. Very advantageous. He now seals the deal, though, with those final 2 kills. That round was over long ago. There was no real comeback potential and no reason for us to overhype Wildcard. M80 strike on their first defense. They have brought the game within a single round.
It's a quick one for sure, and didn't really take any positives from Wildcard, and in that round it was all M80. Good news is Armory is now locked out for M80 in the next 2 rounds, so certainly Wildcard can have a dig at maybe some of the more weaker sites. But I don't know, I think every bomb site on border is pretty strong for the defense. Even if you look towards custom, we've seen teams get pretty creative in terms of how they hold customs these days. I think with Castle up, there's always an option for that bomb site to be played, but just because the stakes are on the line for M80 at the moment, I'd be surprised if we see them go there.
Well, not today. Benson Workshop. I need to pull numbers, which is why we have our good friend Jesse J. Chick.
You say good
10
friend.
seconds to insertion.
I consider Jesse a good friend, yeah, just as I do with you, Harry,
5
despite
seconds
the
left.
banter back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Jesse and it's just he's the guy I
Attackers
sometimes
locate
play games
and
with.
defuse a bomb.
You know,
I don't even get that satisfaction.
he's more of a
I don't even
gaming
get to
a
game
buddy.
with Jesse.
Should he
It
be my
hurts
buddy?
feelings.
Can I use the term buddy instead of friend?
What's the distinction you're drawing here?
Colleague has been another one that's just been tossed out there as well.
Colleague is so insincere and devoid of emotion and kinship, which is the whole
Yeah.
point of friendship
I mean, he's a friend from
and
work. That could be
buddyship,
another
I
one.
suppose.
Jesse's just messaged me and said he's not my buddy. So
I'm not your
that-
buddy guy.
that's literally what he said.
Attackers located a bomb.
That's from South Park. It's a very famous quote. Well, maybe
Yep.
not famous, but if you like South Park, it definitely is. Speaking of Jesse, why I brought this up. Prior to this game, Wildcard had a 75% win rate on border attack. That's Wildcard on attack. Where they are right now. They were not successful in their very first attack, but the second time around, they get rid of Spoit early on. Merc is good to find his own way in. He's feeling the ash. This is an operator, and with a loadout that he is exceptionally familiar with, a reinforcement will work against M80 as they've lost a part of this top floor. Diaz under drone. There goes one of the Ionoclones as well, and oh, he's out-muscled by Adam. Wildcard in excellent shape with half the round to go. They're in a 5v2.
Not looking good for M80. Wildcard have just took the map piece by piece, slowly grinding out kills as they move through it. And Iconic looking to rotate in towards blue. A trade happens between Kinos and Spirits. And now only 4 players remain that Iconic needs to find, every single one of them, if he wants to get this clutch, and he's doing it well. If not, the greatest of weapons, the UMP, and doesn't even get a gunfight. Adam straight on the money, pushes in through blue, finds Iconic, and well, that's the first attack. And once again, M80 are still 2 rounds behind.
Just got to maintain that pace. Wildcard, if they can win their 2 rounds early, it will put a huge amount of pressure onto the shoulders of M80 to keep pace. But one thing I will say, Bank was as close as you can get without needing overtime. Border is not shaping up to be that map right now, which doesn't surprise me with this map and the way these teams have played. This has been one of the more high-octane matches that we've seen in Stage 2. Now, both of these teams had brief periods of explosiveness in their previous matchups, but now you see them colliding, and really, it might not be the most spectacular match that we've witnessed. Go back to DZ versus Sonics and the back and forth that ensued between them in their best of 3, and now look at this. And yeah, you can very easily say, well, this is a very inelegant border. This is a chaotic, a hectic border.
10 seconds to go.
But there always has to be that one Hell in a Cell map, whether it was Coastline, whether it was old Oregon, whether it's now border. Things change, and it doesn't need to be sophisticated siege to be entertaining. I do like that we are constantly seeing non-stop action, non-stop kills, so much so that what is typically very strong spectating has become an almost impossibility because not even the best spectator on the planet can control a camera so suitably for what we're witnessing between these teams, because it's been unpredictable and it's been real messy.
That's just border. It equals chaos. That is the map incarnate. M80 are going to go for a different approach now with the defense. They're going to look for a very top-heavy hold off this bathroom side. You see the castle be brought in. They're going to be setting up mostly towards east. That's going to just slow down Wildcard ever so slightly, but they shouldn't have any issues with the fact that they have an Ash. You can clear away those castle barricades from range. Spoit holding on to top metal. His wall also going to be opened up. So I do like the approach from Wildcard. It's open up the first layer, so open up the reinforced walls, open up the castle barricades, start forcing M80 backwards. Oh dear. Things that you don't want to see.
A Wildcard have just Put themselves up very comfortably for what could be a 6-3 score line as they pick off Spoit. You've got Kino doing better than his usual numbers, but you've got Spoit doing quite poorly. By the way, Wildcard are just in the site now.
He just jumped in. Nobody's home.
Spirits just walked in. Down goes Merc. Bathroom not cleared out. Spirits will trade it back, not before. One has died. M80 still holding onto this position from above, but at some point they will need to head downwards. Diaz has a good read on 2 separate players. He's hopeful that he can get there in time, but not before Kino perishes. Diaz in a 1v2. Wildcard making a brisk pace.
No
Clubhouse
diffuser.
looking more and more likely. Is match point on the table, or can Diaz pull this one off? 1 minute left for Diaz to win this 1v2. A Wildcard no, Harry.
Oh, they do. Yellow pings. I mean, there's a Valkyrie camera to try and support Diaz on East, so it will give him some viable information. If he can position himself into maybe an off angle, nobody from Wildcard's going to check, and this could work out really well. Will pre-fire gives himself away, and both of them doubling up. I like that from Wildcard, and all shots go back and forth, but Diaz comes out worse end of that. Will drop into sight now, but surely it's just a matter of time before they find him. He's going to sprint across, catches a glimpse. That information will be fed through, because I'm pretty sure they've seen him. A down goes in. Diaz just has to try and stay alive. I keep pushing. Shots go back and forth, back and forth. How many bullets are left? The pistol comes in, and Diaz! A mega clutch out of nowhere! How? Oh my days.
It's so easy, Harry, to focus on the wrong that gets done, but in that instance, it's the right that Diaz does. Holy smokes, the way he plays that. Positioning upstairs, getting the first pick, buying time. Yes, Kino dies. But then going through top east, getting the pick, running back, aggressing, droned out, dropping through the hatch, and hiding in the bathroom, not exactly giving them full information. First pick to get the down onto Spirits, and then the final play in a position where he just needs to waste time. There's ice in the veins of Diaz. There isn't a better way for him to have played that clutch, and he pulls it off. It didn't even need Wildcard to make mistakes because Diaz was just that good, and what almost certainly should have been a 6-3. Likely flushing out M80's timeout, putting them on the ropes, has now injected new life into the veins of this M80 team.
10 seconds to go.
Timeout still intact, game still intact, and M80 can very easily win one more round, tie the game, and completely change the trajectory of Border.
Attackers are moving to
There's
defuse the
one
bomb.
point in every map where there's a moment that, you know, just changes what the game is. And that is the moment for this game, by far. That is a tilt fiesta in the Wildcard house. It has to be. There's no way they're going to be happy with that. But this is where the mentality needs to stay strong for Wildcard. You've lost a round. Get over it. Go next. Go next. You're out of it. You're still winning. You're still in a relatively good position. Just focus on your next attack. Do not worry about what's happened. That's in the past. You cannot change that. They go to Armory. They struggled big time against M80. Last time they were here, M80 had a field day. Didn't really have to do anything flashy. Wildcard just came to them and let them kill them.
Drone activated.
I'm deploying a drone.
Well, Glaz emerges on the side of Wildcard as they change things up. No need for a timeout for them to settle this down. Wildcard have been very quietly assembling a decent amount of opening picks through this entire series. Maybe not quietly. In my count, M80's only hit the board once for the first time.
Oh,
M80
my.
dropping like flies, though. Wildcard saying, you know what, we'll let you have the clutch, but you're going to have to fight us for every single inch of this map. Iconic last man standing. We're again only halfway through, and there's Adam with the super shorty. This match could have been over. Diaz, the only one keeping his team in the previous round, clutching out. Wildcard very much still in control. Clutch be damned.
That was a great example of some of the issues that you will find on Border if you don't defend it properly. The way Border sets up with the defenders in certain positions, it's almost set up like Jenga. If one piece falls, the whole thing goes kaput. And a perfect example of that is they lost their dock in CC. You lose that dock, you then lose control of East. You lose control of Long Corridor. That's where Merc was able to walk in and find the player in office by surprise. That's a great way just to show that you need to be ready to adapt if one player falls in a certain position. And I'm really surprised that M80 did not react to that. You should know against a team like Wildcard, where you're up against players like Merc, where if they see a bit of space and they see an opportunity, they will take that. They need to react more. You lose Gomez, you need to be able to fill that hole.
10 seconds remaining.
I was trying to think of a witty pun that also didn't come across as
5 seconds to go.
profane. Did not arrive.
Attacker's objective is to locate a
I
bomb
mean,
and
we will use
sometimes, you know, delivery services are slow. Sometimes deliveries are slow. Maybe you'll get it, you know, in a couple of weeks. It might come to you. But then we'll never cast again. So sadly, that'll never happen.
Never say never.
That's true. Never thought we'd be here.
It's only been like 3 times in the span of 6.5 years or something like that. So, you know.
Yeah, like the Olympics, pretty much. That's what
Actually,
we are.
I do think that I just surpassed. I'd actually have to find the date of my very first broadcast. I think it might be close to the 6-year anniversary, but
I'll find it. Give me 2 seconds.
Reloaded!
I think it's on Wikipedia. Anyway, we have a match to cast. And staring down the barrel of defeat on this map, M80 get pick number 1. Goodbye to the ace, goodbye to the only hard breacher on the board. Wildcard still have tools at their disposal. They've got 3 smokes on the board and an operator who will excel from that shrouded position in the glass. But killing is not the only thing that you need. You need the strategy that comes with it. I have to imagine that the fixation on this glass, 2 rounds in a row from Wildcard now, likely center around that office bomb site. There goes a smoke, and yes, indeed. Spirits walking up to Archives, steps into Goo Mine. There's a Valk cam there. They get information and a ping from below. Diaz will have the 1.5 at his disposal. Down goes Merc. Suddenly, Harry, M80 very much in this game.
Yeah. See what happens whenever you keep players alive. It locks out Wildcard. They can't do the same thing as what they were doing previously. And I think Wildcard, they've relied a lot on Merc making ground for them, making that space so then everyone else can capitalize. And for the most part, has been on cleanup duty. He hasn't really, I would say, played aggressive to say, but he's just found kills where you least expect them and has been really keeping M80 on his toes. He's 18-5, for goodness sake. That is a real standout for Wildcard to take away, as Adam has played out of his skin. But maybe more of his teammates need to try and get on board and do similar things of what he's doing. Spirits on the glass. He's looking to swing in with that bearing. Adam trying to find that dock. They should know where he is. They've got a live ping on him. Gomez battling back and forth with Goo Mine in the foot of Adam. Will slow him down momentarily, but with 30 seconds to go, he's going to have to try and form 4 kills, but I don't think he can do it. And no, he will not. Diaz, a quick swing from Metal. M80 still in the fight.
And they stay alive. They keep their prospects up. The comeback begins 1 round at a time. The first half, dominant for Wildcard. They won 4 rounds. They did so by winning 2 sets back-to-back. It's been back and forth for the entire second half. M80 have not won consecutive rounds at all on Border so far. They need to do that in order to stay in this game. If they drop round number 12, they go out by the same score line that the very first map ended on, which is 7-5. Everything goes according to plan in that case. You win your map 7-5. You get a close contest between the teams, showing that they're evenly matched, but you pick the map. You win at 7-5. That's as close as your opponent can get without overtime. All is well and good in the world. You go to Clubhouse. Does that happen, though? We don't know. That's what you have to try to figure out. And Wildcard have called their timeout to try to settle the team down, to try to gain an upper hand over their opponents. Saw how communicative M80 was during that timeout. They've got a good support staff around them. What can they gain from the timeout?
September 26th, Parker, just for your reference.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It was my day off.
There you go. That was the first time, and for a bonus point, can you name the match?
Yeah, first match was Rogue versus WBG, and then second match was Most Wanted versus Elevate.
Oh, he's
Bomb
good.
located by
Oh,
attackers.
he's very good.
I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget sitting down at that desk in Poland for the first time. So 6 years and a single day ago, my first professional
10 seconds
Rainbow Six
to
broadcast.
And
I don't put much stock in dates and stuff like that. It doesn't really trouble me, so I genuinely didn't even know what day it was.
I mean, the rest was history. You know, after that, that was
That's
it.
very nice of you, and I appreciate that immensely.
Can't get rid of you. As hard as we've tried, you're still here. You know?
You take a nice moment, and then you have to make it so rude.
That's that's me. You know, that's who I am, and we can't change that. You know. Let's see if we can change Wildcard into a team that can win a map. Let's see if they can do it. 1 round is all they need, but M80 are hungry for it. M80 are gonna want to try and pull this into OT and give them the best chance they can. They've just taken the 2-0 in the series, and off they pop to Atlanta as quick as they can. Spirits, well, he's having an issue there with the Mozzie Pest, but will eliminate it and gets his Twitch drone in to try and see if he can spot out some utility. Just droning really for Wildcard. They're playing a little bit more safe, a little bit more slower. I don't blame them. I think they went a little bit too fast almost the last round, and they paid the price for it. And again, it's the same thing. It feels as though they're just waiting for Merc to make a play, and then they all play off it.
Oh, there goes a reinforcement, a late reinforcement, as they know where Wildcard is coming from. And that'll be the 10th reinforcement used by M80 as well. So whether they kept that one in back pocket strategically, or it just so happened to be good happenstance, we don't know. Something that could possibly be discussed if this does end up being a very pivotal round. If M80 win the round and then they win the whole thing and they go up 2-0, that reinforcement might look like a genius move. Something so small like that can have a profound impact. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because there's still half the round to play.
Oh, Spirits, you are in quite the position. He's really the player I'm looking at in this round. If he's trying to creep in towards Archives, he needs to find a kill to open up some space for everyone else. However, it's not went to plan for Wildcard. They have lost the first engagement, and they still have players upstairs to deal with. Spoy in a very strong situation behind that shield, and nobody is really in position to challenge him. Plays Ring Around the Rosie with the window. He finds 2. Spirits has also been down in the process, so he should be able to go and pick that kill up. Packer now tries to get a kill back. Eliminates Diaz. Eliminates Spoy. Never mind. Spirits will live to fight another day. Surf eliminates Iconic, and all of a sudden Wildcard are in front.
Replicating.
What a wild turn of events it's been. And Kino and Gomez pull off the unthinkable. Not a lot of time for Wildcard to work with. The Vents workshop take. Surf will drop in bathroom to push through the back of A bomb site. There goes a smoke, denying Gomez line of sight. A punch through the wall, he might gain some information, and there it is. Amidst the smoke, Packer getting the plant down. Kino does not have access to a diffuser, so he runs through, hunting! He gets the pick, and then will hit the deck! And the timer gives M80 the win! Overtime we go!
He dies for the badge. He knows that he's probably going to die if he tries this, but who knows? You might get lucky, and he's done that. Just hip firing through the smoke with a deagle of all guns. Downs the player defusing. Oh, he's cold as ice. Iceman.
I'm at a loss for words with that one.
What a game. What a game. That's all you can say.
I thought in that first half, that's a little ugly. Yeah, it's a little messy. But this is our match, Harry. Our match to watch, our match to cast. But now we have been treated
5 seconds.
to a delicacy, really, of kills.
That's it.
It has been a non-stop thrill ride. And we get 2 more rounds of it at minimum. Wildcard will start overtime on attack. M80 will move to defense. Both sides success for defenses. Wildcard wins 4 rounds on defense. M80 does the same on defense. Now, in theory, it's M80 to ride the more favorable side.
That's it.
Potentially onwards to Atlanta.
I think you've summed it up well. Ugly and messy. That's what the game is, and you know, it does remind me of, you know, my first relationship and how that ended up. But it's certainly a good point for this game. So I'm all for it. I think M80, just the way that they're playing now with such confidence, it's hard to not give them kind of the nudge and give them the go-ahead moving in now to more defense as they get the side advantage.
Sweeping for electronics.
Well, it's incumbent upon Wildcard to stem this bleeding that is at risk of getting out of control. Adam dropping 18 kills, by the way. There's been so much for us to focus on that it's seemingly impossible for us to touch on every single thing that's happening, but my God. And he's not even doing it on rolls where you expect him to get those kills. He's just doing it as they come about. Mostly high impact kills. We do a post-mortem on this. Should Wildcard lose? I don't know how much criticism you're going to throw at some of these players, but I think Adam escapes it. Now you've lost Merc. Hacker goes as well. M80 certainly feeling this. Again, riding out the favored side statistically. Where are you going? Surf goes for the vault through. Kino guns him down. M80 looking for a flawless first overtime round, and what a stage and tempo it would set.
It feels as though Wildcard have lost their heads. They have kicked out almost against M80 and it hasn't worked for them. They've been punished because of that. All their kills were very easily taken by M80. Spirit swings in towards Office and that sums it up. They can't even kill that. Just a man with a shotgun stuck in a corner. Adam, like you said, he's been the only redeeming quality. I mean, Adam has been the best player in the matchup. But
the winner of that match gets the 3rd spot at Atlanta. So not all hope is lost. There are still at least 3 opportunities for Wildcard because they're still in this match. They could win on Clubhouse after they win on Border. That's opportunity number 1. They could win the lower bracket matchup against Dark Zero. Providing they lose here, they go down, they play DZ, they win. That's your 2nd opportunity. You got the last chance qualifiers as well. So lots of contingency plans for Wildcard. There are, of course, SI points at stake as well. As far as I'm aware, and I can be quoted wrongly on this one, or I believe that in order for Wildcard to qualify for SI, they not only need to qualify through this matchup and then win the NAL, but then they need to win the Major too, and then there's a shot for them to go to SI. But again, don't quote me on that. That's why we need somebody with the actual statistics to go through it. That's what's at stake here.
As long as there's a
M80,
chance.
2 minutes and 40 seconds could separate you from the Atlanta Major.
And equally for M80, they need the SI points. They didn't get through into the last phase of the Major. They got knocked out in phase 2. So they really need to be at the next Major and have a good finish as well to make sure that they're up there and qualify comfortably for the 6th Invitational. M80 on the attack. It's been a while since they've been on this side of the map. You have to try and enter into it now, and it looks as if they're going to try and do so from not only break room, but also below. I like to see Gomez getting downstairs with the nades. He can try and pick a couple of parts off the defense. And just see if he can just open things up for players like Split to give him more space, to give him more room that he can really maneuver, and similar to what Wildcard have done whenever they can get Merc into strong positions.
Well, if you look back to the first half, like you said, it's been quite a while since M80 had an opportunity to attack. Just a little over 30 minutes ago it was. Not once did M80 strike first on their attacks. It was always Wildcard either getting the first pick or immediately trading back, giving M80 no sizable advantage in numbers. It means for the most part, they were battling from behind. And as we said, the scoreline for both halves was 4-2, favoring the defenders. M80, if they can strike first, could completely flip their one and only attack on its head, and they might not even need a second defense to close this map out. But first, they're gonna have to get through Adam, who gets flashed and tries to drop away. Packer under fire.
Spoit.
Blood spilled, and it's M80's Merc eliminating Spoit. There's a dog on the board with 3 stim pistols too, so all the damage done by M80 can be recovered by Wildcard.
Spoit needed to get that pick, but he didn't. Merc is alive, and there you go, there's the stims. That is the plus side of having the dock, and it allows Merc to do things like that. Take another challenge, and Adam, again, stationary in the site. That's where he plays his best siege. Finds Kino, iconic with backstab up metal stairs, does eliminate Packer, but with 30 seconds to go, he's really out of the game. What was he going to bring to this side now? Because he has to swing in through balcony. Surf finds Gomez before Gomez did eliminate Merc, who was in the fight for quite a long time. This is a good rotation from Surf, but he doesn't even need it. Spirits is there, covering for him. Diaz sprints straight through into CC, has the shotgun in hand, dips back left and right, but Spirits cleans up. Oh, can I say the line? Can I say the line, Parker?
You can say the line.
We're going all the way!
A fateful 15th round between these teams as Adam breaks 20 kills. Long looks on the faces of M80 as one final round will determine this map. Wildcard have been pushed to the brink, as have M80. But on Wildcard's turf, M80 are doing this. In terms of rounds 1, they have the lead at the moment because of how clear-cut Bank was. And of course, clear-cut means 7-5. M80 have been in the driver's seat for the majority of this matchup. Yes, they were behind on that second half, but they closed that gap, and then they too sat on match point. One final round. I've said it before, but I will say it again. We are either 3 minutes or 35 minutes away from knowing which team goes to the major and which team goes down into the lower bracket to fight that same opportunity tomorrow. This defense from M80 will exist upstairs. The lineup being crafted right now by Wildcard looks about as standard as you can get. They put Merc on Yana though. Not reunited with that Ash operator that we've seen a number of times for Wildcard. They want the information instead. They know how strong the defenders have it on this map, and particularly how strong M80 has looked. I like the Yana pick for Merc.
Big round, yeah, it frees them up more, has nades, can use that a lot more flexible of clearing out certain positions. Can we also just keep in mind, Atom is also potentially playing for a world record here. That's on, if he gets 4 more kills, he's a world record holder in a BO1. So, let's see how that goes. But it's going to be difficult for him. It really is going to be difficult. I think... Oh.
Think about it. Packers only got 4 kills so far. Adam's got to match that total, you know?
Yeah, that's it. That's all he needs to do. I think Kino, he's going to be the first one under fire. It seems to be an East Stairs clear from Wildcard. All they have to do is make sure the utility is used properly. 1 nade still remains for Merc, so he can maybe try and rotate in and use that for clearing a player out of Fountain if he needs to. You actually see the prep of C4s ready now for Kino. He will destroy the little bit of, I don't even what you call that, the pieces of wood above the archway. He will shoot that out, so now a C4 can be tossed over safely. So that's what they're going to do, and see Iconic also doing the same. C4 goes out. Oh, it's a dud. No boom. EMP caught it.
A bomb has been located.
Wow. A big benefit for Wildcard, and it comes without expending any considerable effort. Now it's Iconic taking some damage. Buck down below, punishing him. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. There's a super highway that rotates, and he can navigate through that, going back towards Armory in the B-bomb site. Gomez will try to get to him to heal him right back up, and there you go. So why does the dock get played? That's why. Adam getting his metal tested. Packer in the hallway. They're closing in. Wildcard setting a good pace here. 1 minute to go, and they get the first pick on Spoit. Oh boy, M80 coming back from the dead. They look to equalize. Now Adam to jump on in. The dock's looking the wrong way. That's his 21st kill. Spirits and him are the last 2 left. M80 with the advantage. 2 kills to be found for M80, and they're bound for the major. 40 seconds. That's what they work with. Adam has been magnificent so far, keeping his team in this, willing them forwards. Kill record still attainable. He needs those final 3 picks to get it done, though. None for
Attackers
Spirits.
recovered the diffuser.
And Adam cannot die. What a finish that would be for Wildcard.
Attackers
Far from it, though. Kino setting Adam up for the clutch of his life. To save his team. No! Kino moves M80 to Atlanta.